enough scrolling, enough watching, enough looking to everywhere else to find the clarity that you need in order to do your kingdom work. Because we tend to, as Christian women who know that we're called to do something more, something specific, we tend to keep looking elsewhere for the clarity that we need. But the only place that you're going to find clarity is in consistent, uncomfortable action. And we all tell ourselves that if we could find the right blog post or listen to the perfect podcast or just wake up one day with enough time, enough energy, enough money, enough of whatever it is that we think that we need, then we'll be able to start and succeed. But like we all know that doesn't happen, right? There's nothing that actually magically happens that sustains you for the next 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? There's that excitement, because the excitement that we get when we get a fresh wave of inspiration and we're like, yes, I'm going to do this, right? Like, this is what Jesus, you've called me to this thing. I'm going to do it, right? Whether that is moving overseas and becoming a missionary, or it's feeding the poor, or it's starting a YouTube channel or a blog, or, whatever it is that he's called you to. We get those waves of inspiration, but they never last, right? They come, and then as quickly as they come, then it disappears. And then we're back to feeling like, well, maybe I'm not called, and maybe maybe this isn't the right time, and maybe, right? All those what ifs just come flooding back in, and then we get stuck in busyness, whatever that looks like for you. We just get stuck in that all over again. And consistently, you're stuck in the cycle of consuming, not creating, not doing what God has called you to do. And that cycle, it is draining, it is frustrating, it is like this place of tension that it is, if you know, and if you don't, it's hard to explain this to someone, but when you're stuck between where you're at and you're like, everything might look great, but you know that you're missing something. You know that there's something you need to be doing and you're not doing it. That place creates so much internal tension. And I want to talk more about that. But before I do, I want to invite you to click the link below to sign up for the On Purpose Planner. It is a totally free 12-week planner that is going to help you do your God-given purpose on purpose. I'm in the middle of creating it, so you can go ahead and jump on the email list and I will notify you when it's ready. Okay, so back to what I was saying before. You have two choices. Basically, you can stay stuck in the busyness cycle where you're just ping-ponging all over the place, being frustrated, or you can take a single, messy, uncomfortable, awkward step forward in the right direction. You can accept the fact that God has called you to something, and you maybe need to stop praying. Okay, I've got to say this carefully. I'm going to say stop praying about it with the belief, because when we ask God to make something happen, we're often asking him, not realizing that we have a part to play in that. Like, we actually have the ability to make things happen. And so it's this partnership that we're entering into, right? Not where we're sitting back. And I'm not assuming, like, I think you likely put out enough effort to get too much done, right? Like your problem is not effort. You're putting out a ton of effort. It's that you're feeling like, or believing that it's kind of like, well, if God wants to make it happen, then he's just going to make it happen, or it's just going to click into place. Not realizing that we actually have a responsibility to make something happen and to take action on what God has called us to do. And that you can actually do that without creating more overwhelm and to-dos and just exhaust yourself even more, right? So more can be said on that, on just how do you do your kingdom work in a way that brings balance to life. But it's time to just accept the fact that God has called you to do this, / you want to do it for his kingdom. And there's a specific role that you want to play, that you're called to play, and it's time to turn it into a plan and to make it happen. Which, again, if this resonates with you and you're like, this sounds really good, then you can download the On Purpose, not yet, sign up to be on the email list when the On Purpose Planner is ready. I'm in the middle of creating it right now, but you can hit the link below, sign up, and then I will let you know when it's ready. It is a 12-week system designed to help you do your kingdom purpose on purpose and to not just let time go by, right? Because again, we've got those two options. So this is like the thing I want to talk about in this video is that while I was thinking about creating this, I was like, in a lot of my videos, I'll talk about the first step. It's that first step that you need to take, because I find that first step, and you might, in the process of doing your kingdom work, of figuring out how to do it, you might have kind of like multiple first steps. But there's something about just, when you figure out how to go from that like crazy ping-ponging busy cycle, and instead of putting out a ton of effort here, you learn to put out less effort doing the right thing, knowing it's slow, it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but you know where you're headed and you're doing the right thing in the right order. I want to talk about the difference between these two things, because both of them are uncomfortable. Whether you are stuck in this crazy busy cycle, ping-ponging all over the place, or you're moving in the right direction, those first few steps is specifically what I'm talking about. I think like once you start doing it consistently, you are like, you're in line with it. It's kind of like everything. Oh man, how do I talk about that without going down a huge rabbit hole? Basically, those first few steps, you're changing internally. Like there's reasons why you're stuck in the busy cycle, because you're afraid to trust God, you don't trust yourself, you don't feel like you're equipped, you're like, I'm too broken of a person, I've messed up too much, or Christian women aren't supposed to do this, or moms aren't supposed to do this, grandmas aren't supposed to do this, whatever it is, that those beliefs that are keeping you there. When you start to take steps in a different direction, the more that you do that, the more that you trust Jesus and keep on following him, even though it's uncomfortable and it's scary, you start to it's like everything, those beliefs and those mindsets start to change and get into alignment with who he is and what he's about. And there's a lot of peace that comes in that. So a lot of joy comes down the road. But when we're talking about those first steps, the thing is, okay, when you're stuck in this busy ping pong cycle, it can look really good on the outside, right? Like likely it does look really good on the outside. If anyone looked at your life, they're like, well, what's actually wrong, right? You might be able to point to some things that you're like, well, this is frustrating and I don't like this. But for the most part, if you are playing by the rules that, your church community plays by, your family plays by, you've always known how to like kind of, what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. If you're playing by those rules, it looks great on the outside, but internally everything is just like, it's out of sync. You are frustrated. You're supposed to be doing something else, but you're not doing it. So internally, it's just anguish. But externally, it looks great. Once you start taking those first few steps, it's going to switch to internally. All of a sudden, you're like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. and where like internally everything just all of a sudden it's like there's this peace that you feel. And yes, you're going to feel uncomfortable as you do it. It's like you're going to be like, I don't know what I'm doing and why I'm even trying this. And then you realize kind of how unskilled you are in different areas as you learn how to do the right things that you need to do in order to do your kingdom work. But externally, so it's like there's that switch where externally all of a sudden it's like everything kind of looks messy, but internally you're at peace. And that peace, like if I could pick between the two, I would far rather have to learn to actually be doing the right steps in the right order, to do it messy, to do it like where it's just awkward, right? Like there are so many times where I will do, even as I've created these videos where I'm like, this is such an uncomfortable process, but I know that my kingdom work is to help Christian women do their kingdom work. And so I'm going to keep doing it. And when I do that, even though it's like awkward and uncomfortable, internally there is this deep peace that doesn't come. I never experienced that when I was like in the busy cycle and just like kind of, I was busy doing tons of things, but I wasn't actually like, none of it really brought this peace that can kind of, and okay, I want to be careful with this because I do not want to say or sound like our peace comes from working for God versus resting in Him, right? But there is something to be said, and this is kind of like an open-ended bit of a can of worms, I guess, or an open-ended conversation, because it's one of those things that I've kind of like been sitting with for a long time, but I don't have like a conclusion to. Because I get that we should absolutely be at peace in God. And yet when you see His character, you see who He is, you read His word, we as Christians should be absolutely moved and pushed and motivated to act, to love the Lord your God with all of your heart, all your soul, all your strength. It's all your resources. Like, what has He given you? So if He has given you skill in a certain area or desire to do a certain thing, it's like part of the first commandment to act on that and to use what He's given you to like do what you've been inspired to do, like do something with it. And so I think sometimes when we're like, okay, but you should just be okay, like just rest in God, right? Like just don't worry about doing anything for Him, just learn to rest in Him. And some groups or denominations or whatever are use that language stronger. But at the same time, I think I just want to say, like, maybe, like rest in Him, but don't let that mean do nothing. Right? Because even as you start to do your kingdom work, you're going to find like, it's a job, it's work. And like we know that should not be our end all be all. Jesus is our end all be all. And so that gets worked out over time. But there is something about doing your kingdom work. And like, I think a lot of that just the angst that we feel when we feel like if you feel like you're not doing enough, if you feel like God is calling you to something but you keep just hearing this message of just trust God, just let that go. I would encourage you to like go to God and ask Him, is this from you or do I need to let something go? And if this is from you, can you show me what to do with it? Like, do I need to be doing something? Is there something that I can be acting on? And if you have, whether He shows you an idea or if you have an idea, then act on that and ask Him to direct your steps, because He will. He said He will. And so I think you know what? I started saying I think and I had no thought. Okay, let me just check my notes. All right. No, so according to my notes, that's all I had to say. But lastly, if you are finally ready to start, then keep wanting to say download. It's not ready yet, but click in the link below in the description below and sign up to be notified when the 12-week my goodness, I am all over the place. When the On Purpose Planner is ready, because it is your first step to take aligned action and do the work that God has called you to do. And my apologies, this harsh light has been driving me nuts. Like, I've got to figure out what to do with. I love it when the sun's out, but then all of a sudden it's like, it just feels like my face is there's like just shadows and whatever. And then I don't know what to do with my hair. And anyway, not that matters, but yes. Lastly, remember to read your Bible, get lost in the story of God, and play your part.